Good morning and welcome to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. I am located at 1563 Main Street in lovely Peckville, Pennsylvania. And I am right here with you each and every week at this time on this station to bring you, the landowner, the information you need regarding natural gas development here in Pennsylvania. And of course, and as always, I, Doug Clark, the Clark Law Firm, has not, do not, and will never represent gas or pipeline companies. I assure you, they have plenty of people out there working for them. We need people working for you, the landowner. So that is my promise. I never have, I do not, and I never, ever will. And I give you my word, I don't care. I'll go dig a ditch, but I won't go work for an oil or gas company. And I understand, hey, look, they need to have people working for them. I respect that. I understand that. And I have people who I'm very friendly with and dealing with in the industry, but it's not my thing. Not my thing. I am here for you, the landowner, and I want to make sure that each and every person I speak to is fully informed, understands what they're being requested to sign, what the project is, and to make sure that you maximize your situation to make sure that you get the most compensation, the most money, that you limit the company's activities going forward so you maximize opportunities going forward. One thing I say, a little side note, I have two sons. I'm always preaching to them. Opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. Do things today that give you opportunities tomorrow and later on down the road. Don't just look at the short sight. Let's go the distance view and make sure that you're maximizing today, but preserving future opportunities. It is critical. And I will tell you that so many times I've represented somebody in the past. We've done pipeline agreements, gas leases, surface use agreements, you name the contracts, and they were designed to create future opportunities. And sometimes it's the next year. Sometimes it's literally 5, 6, 7, 8, even 10 years later, I get a call. And because we constructed the documents, the contracts, the lease, the pipeline agreement, the surface agreement, the company had to come back and request something else in the future, which we were able to negotiate or reject because the client didn't want that. But had that client just agreed to what was offered at the time, well, they wouldn't have that opportunity. And sometimes those opportunities can literally result in hundreds of thousands of dollars, even millions of dollars over time, and sometimes equally as important to people, is you can say no. And that doesn't have to occur on your property. You can say no. So we need to make sure that we maximize future opportunities along with your current compensation and the opportunity you have at the moment. And I'm going to say, advertisement alert. Listen, if you're given any document, call my office. Start with a review and consultation. I do them all the time for people all across Pennsylvania, people located all across the country and even in other countries who have property in Pennsylvania. I don't care the amount of acreage. I don't care where the property is located or the oil and gas rights are located, as long as it's in Pennsylvania. I do these reviews and consultations in office. I do them by telephone. We can conference multiple people in, but take advantage of this. It usually takes 1 to 2 hours. So if you're afraid, I know, listen, you hear me say, I grew up on Airport Road. Look it up. Airport Road, Parks Township, Armstrong County, Pennsylvania. That's where I grew up. I understand. My parents never talked to a lawyer. None of my neighbors talked to a lawyer. The only lawyer that I ever saw or heard of, I didn't even see, was when my grandparents went into town to do the will. So I understand that, and I want to help you. I want to help you and make sure that you're not being taken advantage of. And boy, should we know if you're listening to this radio show You probably have had experiences in the past, and certainly you know others who have, where they feel, looking back in hindsight, that they could have done better, that they wish they would have known then what they know now. And we need to make sure we do not repeat those mistakes. So call, no matter what the document is, learn about the service and see if I can help you. And I'll tell you, like I say, the worst thing that can happen is you are informed, you understand what's going on, and you make an informed, intelligent decision. On the flip side, you may find out that you have the ability to say no to this proposal and that it's in your best interest to say no. Or you may find out, hey, I can say no or I can negotiate. Just in very recent times, and I don't want to get too specific, but clients called me who I represented before, and this was literally 6 years ago, over 6 years ago, about 7 years ago, and they had a pipeline agreement. And they sent me the information, what was offered. And I'll tell you this, I have no doubt in the world that that pipeline company did not want them to call me. Again, I represented them the first time. So they went back to that same landowner and said, hey, we'll give you the same type of deal as last time. Well, of course they will, because in this case, the clients had way more leverage this occasion than they did last time. So in the matter of days, the compensation level increased by over 8 times what was offered. Because we did a review and consultation, I explained their leverage this time and how this case differed from the last time, which, by the way, they did very well the last time too. But we were able to maximize this leverage and increase the compensation drastically and improve the agreement from what we did in 2000, well, I won't say the exact date, but about 6 or 7 years ago. So those are the types of benefits that you can see. Now, again, not every case gives you that. Some cases we do way better. Sometimes, again, the worst thing that ever happens is you become informed, maybe what you thought is verified, and you know you're not getting taken advantage of. And once more, I'll say it, it's usually 1 to 2 hours of time, including my review of all the paperwork, my review of anything else that I need to look up, maybe DEP records or online information regarding production and activity. Then we have a call, and that's usually about an hour. So call the office, the Clark Law Firm. I do all these, Doug Clark, I do them all myself. Call the office, 570-307-0702. Again, call my office no matter where you are, as long as that property or oil and gas rights are in Pennsylvania, and learn about reviews and consultations. That often leads to further representation, but it doesn't have to. So you can have this dip your toe into the water and say, hey, do I like this guy? Does he know what he's talking about? Is he going to work for me? Is he going to fight for me? Hopefully you'll see through the radio show that is true, and you'll see through the websites that that's true, and you'll see in these discussions that we have that that's true. Because again, my primary goal, and I can say it, and I don't care how it sounds to any, well, I mean, I hope it sounds sincere because it is sincere. I want to help people. I want to make sure that we're not leaving money on the table. And I talk about my grandparents, and they meant the world to me. And if I knew that they could have been helped and they got taken advantage of, that's the kind of stuff I want to stop. It really, really is. So don't be afraid to call, regardless of where you are. Just pick up the phone, put down the pen, call my office, 570-307-0702. And keep listening to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. So I mentioned pipelines, and I want to talk about pipelines today. I haven't done a new pipeline show in a while, and I'm overdue to do that. So let's talk about pipelines. Number one, guys. Number one, golden rule, put the pen down, pick up the phone. Remember that the landman works for the company, not you, the land owner. They don't work for you. If you call me, you hire me, I work for you. I use all my experience, my knowledge, my background in history to try to benefit you as much as I can in each and every case. So put the pen down, pick up the phone. Why? Why? Here's why. You need to understand that in today's market, today's situation with gas prices being really low, a lack of drilling activity, and there's not much development as far as drilling. However, I have been getting more and more pipeline agreement calls. So what happens to people is it's a setup situation that exists where the landman who works for the company, not you, the landowner, the pipeline landman, comes to you and says, hey, yeah, we want to start getting you royalties. Think about this, Tioga County, but elsewhere as well. Yeah, we want to get you royalties. We want to get you royalties. Here, we got to get pipelines in the ground. Don't rush. Are they rushing to produce? Well, look at what's going on out there. Don't rush to sign any agreement. Put the pen down. What we want to do is we want to understand that if you do not agree to a pipeline agreement that's presented to you, there may be scenarios that by not agreeing, that results, whether it be immediately or in the near future, of your lease terminating. So you may have the opportunity to negotiate a new lease because the pipelines weren't installed in time and production didn't occur in time. So by just simply signing, you may, and I stress may, be preserving a lease that would otherwise expire. And with the market how it is, companies, in my opinion, and I believe this strongly, have become more and more desperate to hold leases. I see it all the time. So what do we need to do? We need to understand what is going on. We can't look at this as in a vacuum, meaning just your case. We need to look at this in a bigger picture. Get out of the forest, get above, and let's start looking, or get out of the trees, let's get above and look overhead at the forest. Then we'll get into the trees. But we got to look at both. So we have to understand that just because we're frustrated, because there hasn't been oil and gas production, because we were promised to be millionaires years ago, and that's never happened. And we were told, oh, royalties now, oh, royalties soon. Oh, now you're going to potentially hear, hey, we're the good guys. We're coming in now. You need to put pipelines. We're going to get this to market. Again, the guy who cried wolf, the boy who cried wolf. We have to learn. So what do? Hey, fooled me once, fooled me twice. I'm not being fooled anymore. I'm going to put that pen down. I'll listen to you. And then I'm going to get information to find out, should I sign a pipeline agreement? Why would I sign a pipeline agreement? Can I negotiate the pipeline agreement? Can I say no to the proposed pipeline agreement? If I say no, what will be the result? And if I say yes, what will be the result? All of those questions and so many more, you need to know. You need to know. And I'm going to tell you, the landman who works for the company, not you, the landowner, is not going to tell you what you need to know. I will. They won't. Put the pen down, pick up the phone, and give me a call. 570-307-0702. You're listening to Attorney Doug Clark. This is All Things Marcellus. And make sure you join me each and every week for this show at this time on this station. I'm in my 10th year, guys. 10th year doing this show. 10th year. I don't talk about being an oil and gas attorney. I am one. And I work for you, the landowner. And you know why I'm fired up? I'm fired up because the client this week who I was working on sent me this document. And I said, thank gosh you called me. Because, again, company says, oh, hey, we'll give you the same thing as before. Well, this time before, we didn't have leverage, but now we do. So we increased the compensation by 8-fold plus from what was offered and get a much better deal. And what's happening, guys, why I get so upset is because people are just signing these documents. And I don't know if they're afraid to call. I don't know if they say, boy, that landman was really nice, the landman who works for the company, not me, the landowner. I don't know what the reason is. But whatever that block is, bust through it. Call me, 570-307-0702. Reviews, again, and consultations. You're not signing up for a lifetime of representation. You can start with typically 1 to 2 hours and say, what's going on here? What are my options? And what should I do? And I want to do that with every person I possibly can, with everyone, because this playing field is not even when one side has all the information and you don't. And mistakes can cost easily tens of thousands, also easily hundreds of thousands, and in cases, millions of dollars. And I know that as a result of certain people in certain cases going to sign pipeline agreements that are going to end up preserving gas leases. And I see it all the time where the person has leverage, a ton of it, and they have no idea. And they leave money on the table and they leave terms on the table, or they call me and we do a review and consultation and I explain to them what their leverage is and what their options are. And I see how we negotiate to improve compensation and to get a lot more money. I talk so much about Tioga County, and this applies to all over Pennsylvania. But Tioga County, guys, the last thing you should be doing is simply signing pipeline right-of-way agreements. The right-of-way agreements that I see offered in Tioga County are literally some of, if not the worst, that I see in Pennsylvania. And the only reason that they don't get better is because people aren't negotiating and pushing back. And so you fall into this snowballing avalanche of frustration of, yeah, I signed a lease in 2000 to 2006, 2007. Here I am sitting here, 8 years, 9 years of shut-in payments. By the way, call me, 570-307-0702. I want to hear from you. And now somebody comes along. Oh, hey, I got a pipeline agreement. We want to start getting you royalties. Put down the pen, pick up the phone, call me. Do a review and consultation. We need to change this market. And I'm going to tell you, we changed the market in Susquehanna County, Bradford County, years ago. And all of those wells that are sitting there, not connected to pipelines, are going to need pipelines. So whether you think, hey, I don't have any pipeline agreement now, well, you certainly may have one in the future. And you need to remember this. Put down the pen, pick up the phone, call me. Let's talk about what your rights are. And what terrifies me, if you listen to this show regularly, you know my number one thing is to break up these held leases or allegedly held leases that are being held solely by yearly shut-in payments. Tioga County, you're getting a yearly shut-in payment. You've been shut in for 8 years or more. Do not cash that check. Call my office, see if I can help you. Let's do a review and consultation and see about the status of your lease. I've had several leases terminated very recently. Several leases terminated that people are just cashing checks, not questioning, and we're going like, we're walking, we're like sheep going in to be sheared, and we need to stop that. We need to protect yourself. We need to make sure we're pushing back and fighting back. And if your lease is dead, terminated, or expired, we need to kill it. So you are eligible for a new lease. And again, be careful signing any documents. And today we're talking about pipelines. I'm going to talk more about pipelines and say, oh, well, pipeline agreement, I signed one of those years ago. My grandfather on the farm signed pipeline agreements, 1950s and so on. It is a different time. And I'm going to explain how and why and go through some of this language in these next segments. You're listening to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. I truly want to hear from you, and I want to do all I can to help you. Call my office, 570-307-0702. 0702. I love what I do. Visit my websites, research, ask friends and neighbors. Go to pagasleaseattorney.com, pipelineattorney.com. Read the testimonials. Check out the sites. I want to help you in any way I can. I'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. Make sure you join me each and every week at this time on this station for All Things Marcellus. I mentioned it earlier. I have been doing this radio show I'm in my 10th year of All Things Marcellus. If you miss any of today's show, you can go back, check out the websites, pagasleaseattorney.com, pipelineattorney.com. If you have a pipeline agreement or you want information about pipelines, go to pipelineattorney.com. Remember, the radio show, the websites are all general information, but the general information is I say this, the specific information on the radio show is to get specific advice for your case. And then we do the reviews and consultations and do those very detailed, obviously, for you and you alone. But these radio shows are designed to get you thinking, to understand what is out there and why you need to be protecting yourself and be careful. Now, we're talking about pipelines today. Now, let me tell you, I got a couple pipeline agreements here. They're going to read from portions of these pipeline agreements. So I hope that this scares you. I hope that it scares you, and it scares you into calling me. Now, this isn't some kind of scheme to say, oh boy, I need to get clients. It is a way I want to convey to you how serious this is and how these documents, I'm not making this up. I don't make things up. This document that I'm holding in my hand has very, very powerful language. And they're, quite frankly, hard to read, very hard to understand at times. People get frustrated. Oh, the landman who works for the company, not you, the landowner, is a real nice guy or a real nice lady. And boy, these documents are pretty complicated. Oh, and they say, oh, we're just going to put a pipeline in. We're going to give you money. Well, where do I sign? No. Put that pen down. Do review and consultation. Why? Here's some sample language from an agreement. So it says that you're going to have a 50-foot pipeline for the purpose a 50-foot easement where the pipeline would be located. And the easement is for the purpose of constructing, installing, maintaining, and operating pipelines. Okay? For the collection, gathering, and transportation of gases, liquids, water, solids, or mixtures thereof. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right there it goes far beyond a natural gas pipeline. Whether hydrocarbon or non-hydrocarbon, including, number one, water used in or resulting from oil and gas operations. So now you have agreed to allow frack water, produced water, to go across your property and pipelines. Maybe that isn't a concern to you. Maybe it is. You need to know that. Also, goes on, number two, gas or fluids produced or derived from wells, lands, and or formations not owned or controlled by you. You now have agreed to pipelines, again, produced water, frack water to travel across your property, regardless of where that water originates, regardless of where. So you are benefiting the company you're giving them great benefits, and the only benefit you're going to get is this money whenever we're talking about produced water, meaning frack water, from miles away. You're not getting a benefit of that. You're getting the money from the agreement. And when they offer you $10, $15, $20, in my opinion, for this type of an agreement, that is a joke. Totally unacceptable, in my opinion. You're listening to All Things Marcellus with me, attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. So what do? We say no or we negotiate it. But let me go on. Same agreement also says the company has the right to lay, construct, install, operate, inspect, maintain, repair, replace, abandon, renew. Okay, now we're going to get interesting. Substitute, change the size, rip out the smaller one, put in a new one. Change the size of and remove a pipeline and associated appurtenances. I bet you a lot of people are not familiar with the word appurtenances. Well, we need to be. We need to understand that. And so it says, again, I'm going to back up, change the size of, remove a pipeline and associated appurtenances, including but not limited to. Listen, including but not limited to is powerful contract language. So they're saying that this easement can include what I'm about to say, but other things as well. So let's just see what they even list. Including but not limited to. Let me back up. Remember, landman who works for the company, not you, the landowner, says, oh, we want to put a gas pipeline in here. It's going to pump your gas. You're going to be rich. But yet they hand you this document, which says the easement can include, but not limited to, communication cables. That doesn't seem like a gas pipeline. Electric lines buried in the pipeline ditch with manholes, splice points at or above ground level. Now listen to this one. Whether or not same, meaning those things I just said, whether or not same may be incidental or necessary to or for such operations. So they're saying to you, whether or not they're necessary for their operations, they can do it. So your one natural gas pipeline, and this is just a part of it, guys, allows for including but not limited to communication cables, electric lines, manholes, splice points at or above ground level. Then it goes on. Air patrol markers, risers, which are above ground structures, pig markers, valves, corrosion control equipment. Most people aren't going to know what these are, or are only going to know based upon what the landman who works for the company, not you, the landowner, tells them. And do you think they're going to tell you everything that you should know about why you may not want to do this? Goes on. Along with the right to fence off same. My grandfather, farm. My dad now works on the farm, retired, has the farm. My dad would be pretty upset if they put a pig launcher, riser, above ground facility and fenced it off in the middle of his field or fields. They also, for the purpose of transporting liquids, solids, gases, mixtures thereof, and again, whether originating in, on, or under the property or third-party lands. So, we're talking again, pipeline thoroughfare. You've now agreed to a pipeline that if you sign this, not just to carry your gas, it can carry gas from Canada. It can. I don't know where it will, but it can. And that's the language that gives you leverage in many, many cases, plus more. There's other language too. But the idea is most leases won't allow that. So when the company landman who works for the company, not you, the landowner, tells you, hey, this oil and gas lease allows us to do that, stop. Call 570-307-0702. Call my office, Doug Clark, 570-307-0702. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to landowners who have told me, well, the landman, who works for the company, not me, the landowner, the landman told me they could do it under the lease. Well, listen, they could tell you pigs fly. Doesn't mean it's true. They can tell you elephants fly as well. Doesn't make it true. People can say anything. Doesn't make it true. What we need to do is find out what the truth is. And again, reviews and consultations are an outstanding resource to identify the truth. So call me, Doug Clark, Clark Law Firm, 570-307-0702, and keep listening. Boy, we got a lot to go, and I am getting fired up. I'm getting real fired up, frankly, because this stuff makes me, this is how I get. It's how I get, because I don't want to see anyone getting taken advantage of. So keep listening each and every week at this time on this station for All Things Marcellus. So let's go on. Let's go on. Same document here, and I have other ones. You should see my desk. I got documents all over here, all kinds that I could talk about. Pipelines, that is. And, of course, other ones as well. So let me go on. The company also has the right to lay additional lines and appurtenances. So whatever they do now, they can do again. And they can go beyond that. Maybe you don't have an above-ground facility now. Maybe your above-ground facilities aren't fenced off now. But they can be so in the future. That can occur in the future. So they can, again, renew, change the size, remove all pipelines built on or under the right-of-way. Now, how about this one? This stuff, again, you have to understand these documents. You have to put the pen down, call me, let's review this, and let's get specific in your case and talk about your rights and what you can do. Because I don't know anyone who would want to just simply agree to what I'm about to say. The next sentence, next paragraph. Company has provided the right of ingress and egress. That means to go to and from over top of your property. So again, they have the right of ingress and egress in, on, over, and across and through the property. Notice it doesn't say where, but they have that right. So they can drive all over your property. Oh, wait a second. And any adjoining lands owned by you. For what? For any and all purposes necessary and convenient to the exercise of the rights of way, and easements granted herein. So, you've now given them the ability to travel to and over your property. You've also given them the ability to travel over adjoining properties that you don't even have an easement on. And you don't even know where unless you identify it in the exhibit maps and you negotiate these things. To me, that's outrageous. And people were agreeing to this at $10, $15, $20 a foot. Oh, and here's the line. Well, your neighbor signed. We signed up your neighbor. Well, you know what? I'm sorry for that neighbor. I really am. But that's not my problem. I may love my neighbor. I may be great friends with my neighbor, but by the fact that he or she signed a bad agreement and was taken advantage of, literally has absolutely no impact on me. None. Because I'm going to do the best I can for myself and my situation. You're listening to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. I'm going to cut it off here. We're going to do our second break. We got 2 more segments to go. I'm going to give you some more pipeline agreement language. Again, the idea, quite frankly, is to scare you. It's to scare you with the truth so you understand, hey, I better figure this out. I better figure this out so I don't agree to roadways and travel all across my property. Because here's what happens, guys. Later on, when something happens that you didn't like, you were told, oh, one pipeline, here's where it's going to be. Then all of a sudden, above ground facilities are popping up. Roadway pops up. Travel all across, well, I shouldn't say all across, travel over your property in various locations that you didn't plan on. Here's what happens. You complain, and the company says, well, you signed the agreement, and it allows us to do this. And had you talked to me, you would know that. But you talk to the landman who works for the company, not you, the landowner, and you signed an agreement without understanding the consequences. We have to stop that. And that's what I get fired up over. We have to stop it. And I want to help every person I can. So again, 570-307-0702, regardless of the agreement. I'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. Remember, join me each and every week at this time on this station for All Things Marcellus, and put the pen down, any agreement. Give me a call. Gas lease, amendments, modifications, ratifications. Anytime you're picking up the pen, if you have heard this show, you should be thinking, should I talk to Doug Clark first? Should I do a review and consultation first? And I'm going to tell you my opinion, you certainly should. Call, learn about the service. I want to help everybody I can. It's what I do all the time. 570-307-0702. Ask your neighbors, ask your friends, listen to the show, visit the websites, pagasleaseattorney.com, pipelineattorney.com, whether you have 1 acre or 10,000 acres or anywhere in between, above or below. See if I can help you. We want to make sure the Pennsylvania landowner and oil and gas right owner is not being taken advantage of and is maximizing their situation. I'm going to talk some more about the same agreement, and I'm going to jump to another pipeline agreement and talk about some terms there. And like I say, this is to scare you. It's to scare you into doing something and understanding that we need to stop signing agreements without having information. And please know, my clients sign agreements all the time, but they know what they're signing. We've negotiated them, and we've maximized the benefits. And that's what everybody needs to do. And that's why I get upset. And again, pick up the phone. If you don't like what you hear, hang up the phone, but pick it up, because we want to help you. I want to help you. And I do all of these myself, me alone. And I've been doing this radio show for 10 years, and I'm not stopping. Okay. So back to a pipeline agreement. Here's just to pound this point home. Also, so I said this was a 50-foot easement, meaning a permanent easement was 50 foot wide. Well, there's a temporary easement, and in this case, that means aside from the 50-foot, the company during operations has another 50-foot, in this case, another 50 feet to operate, cut trees, operate, go through your fields, whatever that case may be. So right there is 100 feet. But then it goes on, and it says, so I'm going to read this, have the rights to use a temporary workspace of an additional 50 feet. Together with the right to use additional temporary workspace. We have temporary workspace at 50 feet, which is defined, but then it says together with the right to use additional temporary workspace on the property, and let's see how big this is, additional temporary workspace on the property as needed. As needed. So, the company decides. And look, here's their trump card. I hear it all the time. Safety. Yeah, I know it says a 50-foot permanent, and I know it says a 50-foot temporary, but for the safety of the workers, and look, I'm all for that, but we need to define it. We need to take another 50 feet. Maybe they need another 100 feet. So what you think is a 50-foot easement has now in places has 150 foot clear. And that may go through your trees. It may go through your fields. Your fields may not return and grow and be as productive as you go forward. You need to know those things. And that's why I talk about we need to limit those and define those. So although you have a 50-foot permanent, and that is there in writing, you have a 50-foot temporary, that's there. Well, you have an undefined additional temporary workspace. You need to define it. Also, spells out, this is the same agreement, the right to construct, open, gravel, repair, improve, maintain, and use temporary access roads for the ingress and egress of their operations. So, remember, they have these rights. Now, you may end up with a gravel road in your field that you never contemplated. And I'm going to tell you, that needs to be eliminated or defined. But if you sign this, that literally can happen. Then we go on and it says I want to talk about just these above ground lines. This kills me also. You have to stop this or define it. So it says in this agreement that the company shall not be required to bury temporary water pipelines that are laid on the surface of the property for less than 180 consecutive days. Well, ladies and gentlemen, 180 days is also referred to as 6 months. So when you sign this agreement, unlimited pipelines, unlimited above ground structures, roadways, construction of roadways, water lines that can transport frac fluid from across the region well beyond your area, you are also agreeing that they can have a water line on your property like fire hoses. Don't think of a hose, think of a fire hose, for up to 6 months at a time. Well, then they can pick it up and then come back and do it for another 6 months. Well, let me tell you, that may not be real convenient for you. And you may not like looking at a big water pipeline out your window for 6 months. You may not like it in your fields where you're harvesting your crops. No, you're probably not. So you need to eliminate it or get paid for it and define it. Those things need to be handled. You have to do it. And these things all create leverage for you. Ways, again, which you may just say, hey, look, I don't want to do this. And that's okay. That's okay. I have no problem in the world. I talk to somebody, they say, wow, I didn't know I could say no. I want to say no. And what do they invest? Typically 1 to 2 hours of time. So that is another great example of something that's there that most people don't even realize. You're listening to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. Make sure you join me each and every week at this time on this station for All Things Marcellus. And put down the pen, pick up the phone, 570-307-0702. See if I can help you. So I'm going to move from this one, and I'm going to pick up another agreement. Somebody say, oh, well, this guy's cherry picking. He's just taking one agreement that's a bad agreement. Well, let me tell you, there's a lot worse agreements out there. There absolutely are. Now, there's some better ones, but none of them, in my opinion, are what you want to sign. None of them. I don't think that I have ever represented a client in a pipeline negotiation that's ever signed the agreement that they were presented. And in fact, in almost all cases, that agreement is changed substantially and many times. Now, aside from eminent domain, they are trickier, but many times the client gets much more money, sometimes literally hundreds of thousands of more dollars, literally, and gets a stronger agreement. And remember, I said, create options in the future, limit what they can do, maximize your money today, and maximize your opportunity in the future. Call me, 570-307-0702. So this next agreement has an enormous granting clause. This, again, is a Pennsylvania pipeline right-of-way agreement. I'm going to read from different sections. This is all one paragraph. So the landowner gives the right to the company and their assigns, meaning the company can assign this to other companies, a cable company perhaps. Put a gas line, put a cable line. 2 different companies now you're dealing with, and you never had any idea that was even possible. But let me get back to this. You're agreeing that they can lay, construct, maintain, improve, add, alter, repair, replace, relocate, remove, change the size, abandon the pipelines in place, one or more, whether above or below ground pipelines, including but without limitation, surface water lines. Talk about water, that they can transport water, fresh and produced, or any other substance, produced being frac water, any other substance that can be transported through the pipelines. That's pretty broad. Goes on, with the right to install all necessary and convenient ancillary equipment, including but not limited to valves, taps, valves, tie-overs, drips, connections, meters, cathodic protection, pig launchers, receivers, related facilities, measuring regulators, compression equipment, electrical and communication lines, pipeline data acquisition equipment, and appurtenances there too, and the right to install electric power and telephone service. That's just one paragraph, guys. That should scare you. And this is 100-foot permanent easement. That's the permanent. And then they get on top of that additional workspace. And they can put all of those things there. You better not be signing that unless you darn well know what you're doing. I'm up against this break. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, and we're going to finish with my favorite, what I call the landman free pass. So stick with me. Any agreement, gas lease, modification, ratification, top lease, pipeline agreement, surface use agreement, call me. Start with the review and consultation. Go from there, 570-307-0702. We got to stop signing these bad agreements. I'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm. Is our final segment, so I want to jump back into it. But remember, keep listening each and every week at this time on this station. So this is a separate pipeline agreement. Language from it. Another provision that the company shall have all rights and benefits necessary or convenient for the full use and enjoyment of the rights granted herein, including the right of ingress and egress for access over and across the property or lands contiguous thereto, meaning other neighboring lands, to the right-of-way. Goes on that. Now, this is a setup, guys. One of the things that I do in every agreement, we put an exhibit map indicating where the location of the pipeline is going to be. Companies are smart. They know that. So they come out and they give you an exhibit map. And you say, okay, hey, I'm going to agree to this location. This is where I would agree to it. It's right along the border of my property. I don't need Doug Clark. I'm going to just agree to this. There's an exhibit map, and I hear him talking on the radio. Remember, radio is not specific advice. Here's the catch. The company gives you an exhibit map with the pipeline agreement. And then, in this case, here's language that's included. In the event a company must change the location of the right-of-way and temporary right-of-way, other than depicted in the exhibit map, due to constructability, environmental or regulation requirements, or construction of state or local roads. Now I'm going to stop. Due to constructability, here's what can happen. You may sign an exhibit map, and the company hasn't determined that they can actually construct the pipeline there. There may be environmental conditions, and typically it's going to be a wetland. And the wetlands are all over the place. So, in my opinion, you get tricked. You may get tricked, and people get tricked, in my opinion, and I've seen it. You get tricked and saying, oh, okay, they're going to put this in the border of my property. Then they come back and say, oh, we did wetland delineation. We did wetland studies, and unfortunately, we're not able to put it where we thought we were. Instead of going on the edge of your property, we now got to go right through the center or diagonally across it, worst case scenario. And you say, well, no, I had an exhibit map. And they say, no, Mr. Landowner, here's what also your agreement says. It says that if there's a constructability or environmental condition, we can change it. And in this case, there is. They go on to state that the company shall then, if that occurs, they're going to change it, they got to give you a written request seeking your consent to the new location. Okay, well, that sounds good, right? No. Again, we keep reading. My opinion, total setup. It goes on to say, such consent shall not be unreasonably withheld, delayed, or conditioned by the landowner. So what does that mean? You say, well, I don't want it there. This isn't where I agreed to it. And they say, well, you agreed that if we had to change it because of an environmental condition and we have a wetland, we now need to put it somewhere else in your property. You say, well, I don't want it there. That's going through my field. I don't want it there. And they say, well, no, we need to do it. You signed an agreement. You're being unreasonable, and you're not reasonably stating the position that you don't want it there. You just don't want it there. So we're going to do it anyway. Try to stop us. Now what do you got to do? Now you got to call Doug Clark or somebody else, and you got a big problem because now you're in a fight to say you can't put it there. And those fights cost potentially a whole lot of money. So you could do something today and prevent future problems. Reviews, consultations, understand that. I don't agree to that stuff. We don't agree to it. We change that language because that, in my opinion, is a total setup. And I believe that there are many cases, in my opinion, companies have people sign these agreements and they know that they're never going to actually be able to put the pipeline and the location on the exhibit map that you agree to, but they'll deal with that later. And you need to understand that too. And those are examples of things you learn in reviews of consultations, but just a small example. You're listening to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark of the Clark Law Firm, and make sure you join me each and every week at this time on this station. So I say, the landman who works for the company, not you, the landowner, is he going to tell you all these things? Is he going to tell you what you or want to hear to sign these documents? Is he going to tell you what he thinks he needs or she needs to tell you to sign the documents? I don't know. I think maybe that might occur. But let me tell you here's language from this agreement. And by the way, it's all capitals. It's all capitals, bold texts. It's even indented, or it's even italicized. So you can really see it. So when you complain later, ain't nothing you're going to be able to do about this. Here's what it says. Landowner acknowledges and agrees that any person or persons negotiating the terms and conditions of this agreement on behalf of the company may be an independent contractor of the company and not its employee or agent, such that that person or persons has no authority to bind the company to the agreement or otherwise. So they are saying, hey, look, the landman who works for the company may be an independent contractor being paid by the company as an independent contractor. They don't have the ability to bind the company even to the agreement. So what they're saying to you, we're only going to put one pipeline. Well, that's a problem. That's a problem because you're signing the document. You're not signing words that are in the air. You are not signing words that are in the air. You're signing what's on that paper, what's printed on that paper. And remember that. Am I signing what this person tells me, or am I signing the words that are on this paper? Well, I'm going to tell you, you're signing for what's on the paper. And contract law, a fundamental principle of contract law is you do not go outside of what they say called the four corners of the document. That the court will look at what is written down, not what the landman who worked for the company, not you, the landowner, said, not what you, the landowner, thought, but they're going to say what is on the paper. And they don't even allow you to testify or any verbal testimony unless that writing is so ambiguous that they need it. So if you have something that says unlimited lines, all these different things that I said to you, those, in my opinion, aren't ambiguous. You need to take care of them now. Handle them now. And that applies to all contracts. So hopefully this gives you something to think about. There's so much more, but I'm running up against it. So yeah, it should scare you. It should scare you to put the pen down, pick up the phone, give me a call, Attorney Doug Clark, 570-307-0702. We need to stop signing bad agreements. And remember, the landman works for the company, not you, the landowner. And keep listening to All Things Marcellus with me, Attorney Doug Clark, each and every week at this time on this station. And have a great, great week, everyone. See you next week.